Okay, here we are on the big IntelliPack. I got the power off. I've already gone through and checked contactors, wiring. I didn't want to bore you with that kind of stuff, but you can see there's a lot of boards and stuff. And Train is famous for having all black wires with numbers, so being good at reading and tracing out your schematic drawings and what is for what is extremely important. So let's go to a pictorial diagram. So this is where the stuff is basically in the box. So if you see, we've got board here, that corresponds to those two boards. We've got 4 contactors here. Let's see if something's on this camera that's making it not focus. All right. 4 contactors there. We've got 4 contactors right there. We've got our circuit breakers right there. We've got our circuit breakers there. We've got another circuit breaker up here. That's that one. This is our interface panel. I gotta answer a call. Hang on. Yes, Jake. Yeah. Both sides. We'll clean the other one and then we'll figure that out. Clean the one that's not running. Oh, okay. You should be able to shut that down for a little bit if you want to kill the main power. Yep. Yeah, that'll be fine. They still got the air. It just might get a little warm in there. It'll be okay. Alright, bye. Okay, so we've got our compressor contactors down here. I don't know if you can see, like 1K3, 1K5, 1K4, 1K6. There. Fuses up here. So this is where the stuff is positioned in the cabinet. Again, basically a pictorial, okay? But if we wanted to like transfer, so say that 1K4 for this compressor here. We don't have the legend here, but it is going to be on here. 1K4 is a compressor contactor. Sorry, 1K4 is a compressor contactor. So I've checked that out. Let's get the pad set up like that. Sorry, I didn't mean to bounce you. I've already done this, but I'll go through it with you. On the bigger units like this for them, I like to meg the compressors. So I'm going to pick a ground here, and I'm just going to go on the load side of here, megging down to the compressors. Obviously, if something was grounded, most likely one of these circuit breakers would have been tripped. So that's all. These all tested out good. The main blower and that are on frequency drive, so those are already looking at any kind of ground faults. You can obviously see that the contactors in here, I think I've changed them within the last couple of years. I'm surprised I haven't dated them. I usually like to date the contactors so that I know when I put them in, and usually 5 years or so they end up getting changed out again probably. But I'd rather change a contactor than a compressor. I've done a couple compressors on here and they are not fun. So let me get this panel out of our way. We're gonna walk down here. Here's our main blower section. Here's our motor. Double pulley on here. We're running some pretty big belts. They're pretty long 5VX 1060s. Our motor is a 40 horsepower. Here's our coils. We've got 2 TXVs. We also have hot gas bypass on here to maintain our suction pressure in the back there. Sight glasses, filters are down in that, that run along that way. You can see all the distributor tubes. Part of the PM is we walk in there. Let's see if I can get in here pretty good. Just to see if we can see any kind of rubbing on anything. So Train uses a, I don't know if you can see it. Let's get my light out here. See how big that shaft is, but it's actually a hollow shaft. And see, they tune it down on the ends there. So they have some kind of thing where they don't want to run a solid shaft because of I think it's because of the weight. So that shaft in there is hollow, and the ends are solid just for the drive and the bearing side. So we look in here, check our squirrel cages, make sure none of these are loose. We can do that on the other units. What you'll start to notice on an older unit is that you'll start getting some clean, shiny metal back in there. Actually, as long as I've got dirt on there, I'm good. But when those blades start loosening up, even here on the ends, then you know you've got issues where that wheel will eventually break apart. So as long as I spin it and I don't see anything shiny like metal's been rubbing, same thing over here on the distributors. Kind of look through the cap tubes. They have them banded together so that they don't have a chance to rub. Those bands need to be on there. But we still just take a look and see if you see anything kind of shiny. That's what we do. We're doing a visual. We won't bust out the leak detector unless we notice something specific. And the first thing we're looking for obviously is oil. Back here are suction liquid lines, hot gas lines. When I grease, I like to wipe the bearings off somewhat so I know it still gets messy. There's nothing you can do about it, but you've got to also inspect. These have remote lines, so inspect the piling lines, make sure none of them are cracked and that you're just greasing the floor in here. I'll come back after and we'll clean this pan out real good. This is an older unit, but it still runs pretty good. Check the grooves on here. It's light. It's still in pretty good shape. I might wait again until the fall on there. So we'll close that panel up. That's our motor drive side there. Now we get into the other side of our coil. There's our motor back in there. Here's our face of our coil. This coil, we had something, I don't know if they didn't change the filter, but this coil, this Hvac coil, I'm gonna write up to be cleaned. Again, we clean the condenser coils on the PMs. We don't really get into the evap sides. So that's gonna be an extra. Those normally don't have to be done if they've been maintaining their filters pretty good. So here is an actuator. I changed this last year. This is for our dampers here. So the section here is our return, and the section way down there is our outside air dampers. And we're gonna actuate that. So that top damper is that one. This bottom damper actuator is for these out here, okay? So what I'll do is I'm gonna have to pull out these filters, which kind of stinks. And I actually gotta go in there and I've gotta lubricate all those with a dry lubrication. You don't want to put any kind of like WD-40 on there because it'll attract all the dirt and dust and just sit there. So you put a dry lubrication spray on there on all those joints. So we have to pull all these out. Here's our exhaust fan. See, again, we can see through back to our dampers. So half of those, right now it's 100% return air. And then our outside air dampers will be closed. Here's our exhaust blower motor, belt, ship, grease again. We check our blades. Same thing, check our lines because these are remote greased back there. I don't really get to that back bearing because this is wide open, and if I fell in there, I'd probably probably cause a lot of damage. So I check this one out the most. If something happens on the backside, well, I'm not killing myself for it. So belts, a little bit worn, done in fall. So good. Over here is our frequency drive. Okay, we have motor starters here. So this is an add-on for this. We did have an issue. Yeah, this drive has been changed back in 12. So, but let's shut these up and we're gonna run some tests through that controller, and I'll show you how to bang everything on and off. And I can actually operate in a service mode up there. I can operate in a service mode and pretty much turn everything on and off that I need to. So I will always leave the main blower motor on when I'm doing a service, but I can adjust these dampers to what I want to do. But I am going to close up this panel on this one. So let's move this stuff around. Sorry about the jitteriness. I'm going to set you down real quick. Okay, so I've already greased everything in there and done some of the PM. I didn't want to bore you with some stuff. We do have a diagnostic thing. Let's see what that says. Outside air humidity sensor failure. Okay, well, so when we shut this down, when I shut this down before I had it in stop, okay, you never want to just slam the main disconnect off on them. You put it in stop and it's in stop. So we're going to go status unit stopped. Okay. Let's go into service mode. Okay. So I'm going to turn, it says the supply fan off. I'm going to turn the supply fan on. The VFD command will be 50% because I'm in service mode. So I'm going to turn on and then enter, and then I have to press next. I'll just leave that fan at 50%. Auto on the VAB boxes. Condenser fans. I'm going to turn all my condenser fans on and all my compressors on right now. That's the only thing I'm going to do in this test mode. So I'd say next. I'm going to up arrow to on, then enter, then next, on, enter, next, on, enter, next. Condenser fan speed 100%. Well, that's how it's going to be. Next, next. Compressors. I'll turn all my compressors on. Enter, next, on, enter, next, on, and so on. Dampers position. We'll do that after we bang all this on and off. So I'm going to leave all these off. These other relays. Heat off, cool on. Enter. Next. Service, enter. Service on. So it's going to tell me test. So basically what's going to come on is my motor is going to come on at about 50%, my blower motor. All my compressors should bang on and all my condenser fans should bang on right now. So we're going to hit test start. It gives me a countdown on the test. Service test is active. walk down, I'll kind of show you where the compressors are underneath there. It's going to be loud, so you're not going to hear me talk. I'm just going to feel the discharge lines, feel the suction lines. Compressors are up there. Off in a little bit, we can look at the oil level, but they all four came on. Again, you're not going to hear me real well over there. But all four compressors came on. That suction line got really cold fast. Discharge line got really hot fast. So I know we're sitting pretty good. It would still fail if we had an issue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put stop, and that'll stop my test, and it's going to shut down. So now the next thing I'm going to do is it's going to update its data. As soon as it does that, I'm going to go back into service mode, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to drive the dampers. I'm just going to drive the dampers. So supply fan on, we'll leave the fan on. We're just going to go to next. Inlet guide vanes, we'll just leave that at that. What we're going to end up doing is taking all these condenser fans that I put on to off. Take those compressors off. K12 must be okay. Next. Okay, previous. It gave me an alarm because I did something here. We gotta turn that one off first. Outside air damper position. So we'll leave that damper at 100%. I'm going to change this one, the exhaust, up to 100%, put enter. I'll turn the exhaust fan on this time, enter. We're going to leave those modules all the same. Heat off, cool on, service on. So we'll go test start. 3, 2, 1. So we can go over here, and what should happen is these should open 100%. And these dampers are going to start closing like that. I switched it from 100% return air to 100% outside air. These fronts here are closing. The ones out here opening up. That motor's still moving, closing those. And by closing those, it's opening the far ones down there, so I have 100% outside air. Perfect. We know we don't have any locked up dampers. So that's worked. These ones are 100% open. You can see all the way in there. Our frequency drive on our motor's running in there. Our other exhaust board is obviously running. We can come down here and look at that frequency drive, I think. Oh goodness. So here's our frequency drive for our main blower, 30 hertz. I've got it at 50%, so the command from there comes back, tells it to run at 30 hertz. We get our amp reading right off there. We just want to drive this up to 100%. We could get our full load amps on that motor. So we know all our dampers are working. We know we're kind of chilling down in there. There's no heat on this unit. They've got hot water heat, so we're going to hit stop. on here. Updating. So these are really kind of nice because you can, I don't have to jump anything out. I can kind of make it do what I want it to do. Move my dampers, turn on my blower, turn on my compressors one at a time if I wanted to, bang them all on like I did. So it's kind of nice. It gets a little more in depth, changing stuff out or following schematics in that. But it's got a, they call this a human interface panel because I had to change this one a couple years ago. Buttons stopped working. So really kind of neat to be able to get in there like this. I wish they all kind of had this, but obviously, you know, for the cost of a smaller unit like that, you're not going to have something like this. You're going to have to kind of jump it around. So, but bigger unit, you know, more wiring, but still the same principle on everything here. So I'm sure you'll have some questions. I'll end this video now, and we'll talk about it on Monday.